in the library and I looked at Newsweek magazine, and in the centerfold they had this interview with Alan Lakin, and he wrote this book that I just told you. So I said, boy, and told a little bit about, he said, hey, it's all priorities. You have to decide what's your priority. So I went up to the bookstore right then and there and got it, like at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I read the book. And he makes you write down things, you see. You have like a minute to write down what's important to you, what's your priority. Well, what came out of that, make a long story short, is number one is health. You got to feel good. It doesn't matter if you got $7 million. If you don't have your health, it's all worthless. Plus, I got 3 little boys, and so from that day, and then he makes you put down specifics. If you decide that your first priority in life is you want to be very rich and you want to make a lot of money, then you do those things. Or you want to have a fantastic house, then you're into wallpaper and furnishings and all that stuff. But mine was health. So from that day on, in 1977, I oriented everything toward that approach. Some of his things are like this. You shut down at the office. You don't take every call that comes in. For example, from 8:30 to 11:30, I would close the door and I would study and I would prepare and so on, which I had cases in 90 courts around Ohio. I mean, I was a fledgling litigator, and that's what I wanted to do. So they said, okay, fine. So I was going all over, Sandusky and Ravenna, Mentor, you name it. So I'd come back at 5:30. That's when I'd start working. No. 8:30 to 11:30, the door's shut, and I'm studying, preparing, and all that stuff. Then at 11:30, I didn't have these little pink slips. We threw those out. We got 8.5 by 11, detailed, and my secretary typed up what the call was. A lot of them you can dispose of by having her call back or set up an appointment or here's the answer to the question. But the ones that need attention, you call. For the next, you get rid of your calls. So by 12:30, I've got all the calls done. I'm up to snuff. Then, instead of going to lunch, I went to 13th Street Fitness Club. Started running around the track. The first day I walked in there, this guy, hey, I never saw you here before. They had just opened. It was Frank Ondas, fabulous guy. I had never lifted weights in my life. He asked me what I did. I told him I'm interested in tennis. Oh, come on. Started me right then and there, 5 minutes. So, in any event, I got into that heavy. And I became a vegetarian that year too, 1977. That's when I stopped eating meat. So, all of it became oriented. So, number one priority, not making money, not seeing how many hours you can work, kill yourself, die early, and think in those terms. In fact, I used to take the boys, Sunday mornings we'd go down to the flats, we'd go all over the city. There's no traffic.
Are you taking video like that? Mm-hmm. It won't work. You have to turn it on.
There's no traffic, there's nobody there. And so we go down to where my old law firm moved to, Jones Day Cockney and Rivers, one of the biggest law firms, most powerful in the world, not just the country, 800 lawyers. And I said, yeah, isn't this fabulous? They moved down here from the Union Commerce Building. Now they got a view of the lake, and I'd probably be in one of those offices there. I could see Lake Erie and so on. And here's this little voice from the back, little Jeff. He says, no, you wouldn't, Dad. You'd be dead by now. And he probably was right. A lot of those guys were knocking off with heart attacks and strokes and so on and so forth. But anyway, that's when I developed this thinking about priorities.
Yeah.
and it helps. It helps. Then I do the same thing. I feel like $1 million when I came back from 13th Street, because I would just grab something on the way back. I'm not sitting down for 2 hours to have lunch. I'd grab something on the way back in a box, go back to my, I'd feel refreshed like I'd been away for 3 weeks. And then I'd work, and they'd take the calls until whatever, 5 o'clock, and then they'd go. And the ones that I needed to be dealt with right then and there, I do it. It's a much better system. Why didn't I think of that myself? I don't know, but I got it from his book, and it changed a lot of things. That's just one illustration, but there's a lot of other ideas I got from him.